Hello traders, this is Alex with the COTLive.com website. We're going to review a market that I haven't really looked at a whole lot, but it'll be good for educational purposes, and we're going to look at cocoa. This futures market is quite active. Everybody uses it, in the chocolate and whatnot. So it's a commodity everybody is involved in, and you know, those are kind of interesting, right? Makes sense. There's got to be some seasonality to them. So let's first look at the chart where I derived the uh, the data points from. Let's look at a monthly.
Refresh finished.
And I took all the major swings, including what I had as far back as I had in the 1959. I took all these pivots, major pivots. So that is my data points. and so that's where we came from. Let's look at the actual inputs. This is my program, by the way. This is the master chart program on Excel. And you can do a lot of different things with this, right? You can do the standard where you input a price in the middle and it'll spin out from there. Just, the 1,000, right, is what was entered in the center cell here. And the date of 2001. And you can see the thousands here, and it goes out. Again, even squares are this line, odd squares are this line, and all the other sub squares come after that are in between. 0, 180, opposition, right? So kind of a similar format. Again, opposition. You can actually put planets in here, especially when it comes to time. Again, that date that I inputted right here, oops, it also goes out in a corresponding 1 day per box, right? All the way out. Another thing you can do is multiply increases by the same cell, right? So if you put 2 in the middle, it'll go 2, 4, 6, 8 all the way out. I did IBM, the square root, 215, square root of 14. So, and again, it goes all the way out into infinity. And then you got the time as well at that same price structure. You can also go down. I did a video here not too long ago on going down, and this, I think it must have been IBM. You can review that if you want. And of course, you find some big high. And what I like to do there is take the square root of that, or multiply it out so it comes out evenly. Anyway, that isn't the point of this video, so let's go back. So yeah, these are the inputs, all those swings that I had on the monthly chart on the cocoa, and low, high, and we're going to input those right now. So this is my cheat sheet, I call it. I like to start from the oldest first, and keeping it the same color code and everything, you really don't screw up any of the stuff on this chart. Again, it's just a spreadsheet. You can change the colors and all that if you want, the fonts. So that's the input. This is this data in right here. Whoops, right here, right? It's just printed out for you in a nice format that you can print and keep. And here's the date format, which is again similar to inputting the date in the center cell. And again, this puts it in a nice format, right? Visual. And these are the revolutions, how many times it goes around. 1, 1.5 is here. This is 1, 1.5. And this will be, actually, no, this is 0. Here, 0 degrees. Here is 1, and this is 1.5. So again, it just calculates it simply and correct. And I'll go through these. I'm going to put you on pause here, and I will put all those data points in there for you. And then we'll take a look. Well, before I do that, let's reset everything, right? Because there's data from my previous searches in there. We're going to reset, hit these 2 buttons here to reset everything back to 0. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to finish up these last few. Again, I've inputted all these just like this, just copy and paste. And save dates to research. And I'm just kind of going through that list. Save dates to research. So that put all those in. Now we're going to go also input. I'm going to put the square root in as well on the doubler. But first, the inputs I've already put in, it drops it into this research folder. And these are all the dates. This program then will take an advanced search, and again, I like to look back at least a year. So I got 2002 plugged in, 2003, 2024. You have to plug that in. If you're just doing back research, you can plug whatever, as long as the dates aren't beyond these. And you can see the last one I did was Occidental. But I'm going to put you on pause again while I set up the doubler on the square root of the all-time low, which was this one right here. Again, with the little star, this is all-time high, right? So I'm going to do the square root of 210 and plug that in on the doubler. Hang with me 1 second. Okay, I plugged the data in on the square root, which was 1449. Let me see. I'm going to go undo this so you can see what I've done. Yeah, 210. The square root's 1449. I copy and paste base special as values, right? So that, again, if you know how to run a spreadsheet, that's because, again, it won't let me do it. It'll have a default if you just copy and paste, right? So you got to paste as. Anyway, 1449 is the square root, and these are the dates that I'll be using. And again, these are also, if you're into price. Again, my whole point of this program, for me, now everybody can do it differently, but I like to find multiple dates that align with other dates. So this is basically the data that I'm going to be using. And there's not a whole lot, right, that will be inputted, but we're going to save this now to the research folder as well. And now I'm also going to plug in the down price from the all-time high, which will be this one right here, right, 38.26. And let me set that up. I'll be right back. Okay, again, this is the part of the program that I use when it's when the future date's too close, again, because the master chart's really designed for looking out into the future from older dates, right? But you can also use this squaring down. Again, here's the inputs, right, from this input folder right here. I copied and pasted into the inputs of MC1 down. And you can use these dates, but again, there's no future, right? So a little common math, you plug in the date, the center cell, and the price, 38.26, and you multiply it out into the future, and this kind of gives you the future square, right? So this I set this up so it automatically does it for you. Again, you can plug in into the future as well. One doesn't quite hack it, right? Because again, that's not far enough out in the future. Let's plug into the center cell, then becomes 7652, right? Doubling, right? Basically, this 38.26, and so if you put in, then you put in 7652. Which then you want to plug in the date that this gives you, February 13th. (1932). So let me get rid of these highlights here real quick. No fill. So that by plugging in this data points, this gives you something to work off into the future. 1932. Again, these are the dates that we'll be saving, right? That the program will pull out. So there's a few data points there that'll be helpful. And again, this is a real mathematical deal, right? It's accurate as long as you keep it in square. So let's save this to the data as well. And let me set this next segment up. Hang with me. All right, when I went back to the research folder, you can see that it plugged in. This is the down, the one I just did that I had to manually calculate. Here is the square root, and it's doubling calculator. And then, of course, all the other ones as well. So this will give us a large date selection. And then what you do is you go back to the main page, and then you begin you click this button, and it'll begin the advanced sort. It'll take a little time, so I'm going to put you on pause while it goes through all those dates and spits them out. Hang with me. Okay, it took about a minute and a half for the program to get all the dates plugged into the program, into the advanced sort. And again, if you're comfortable with these inputs, you want to start with January 1, just so that when it's a clean sort at the beginning, and all your years will be in a correct column. And then you click this sort by years, data by years, and it spits all that data points out. And again, we're looking for ones that are duplicates mainly, right? You can see March 9th had 4 of them, just as an example. So I'm looking for those. That's what I want to see. So if you look back at March 9th, let's just do, before we go on, let's just see what March 9th was. It was right in here in the middle. This is a spot chart, so it's a little sloppy. And again, you're going to try to also verify that it works for this deal. And I'm going to plug this data into a chart, and we'll take a look, see how accurate it is before we move on. Hang with me. Again, I took all these data points. I just pulled out, copied and pasted in a little column off to the side here, which you can delete or move. But these will be the dates I'll plug into the chart, kind of separated by months, January, February, March, and then right now today's April 24th in the morning. So that's the data. I'm going to now plug these into the chart. Hang with me. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I plugged in the data onto the July cocoa chart. Again, you can do this with any commodity or stock, right? I'm just isolating cocoa as educational purposes here. And you can see that I just started back in the 1st of December and just kind of ran the data. And we'll just go through these quickly. These dots represent one of those dates, right? Or multiple dates. And you can kind of see that this is kind of a pattern, right? This is kind of a new leg up after a pause. We did have 2 dates here that gave the acceleration. We had a couple more dates up here, which obviously you'd take note of. And I'm just running through it here slowly. Now we're into almost getting to the 1st of February. And again, these are the ones I kind of focus on, but the singles are also important. Get us mathematical support and resistance based on the master chart. So, and the square of 9. So it's mathematically important. And again, another pause, another new high, acceleration with timing, giving you that acceleration. And now we're into March. And this is the 4 that I seen when I first did it. It wasn't really a high or low, but again, it broke a major trend support. And again, if you're a stop person, you definitely could have sold it and put stops above this date, right? Or probably here, right? Because again, there's give it a little. Or if you're into option trading, right? You bought puts. Or if you're long futures, you could have bought puts if you're short futures, you'd have bought calls here, right? 2780 calls or something to protect your position if you didn't want to get out, right? If you were short. Now, if you were long, you would have bought puts probably here, right? Knowing that if this is a break, and this is going to cause a break, you'd have taken the low of 27.30, bought 27.30 puts against your long positions, that kind of thing. This was kind of a void, right? And the market traded into that void all the way down to the next timing. We're getting into the middle of March. And again, this sling down is pretty tough, right? I mean, it broke the trend line. If you're a trend line guy, you'd have thought, uh-oh, it's over, right? Well, that's always the trick, right? They tend to knock people out, the market. That's their job. Professional traders try to stir the pot, and a lot of people probably had stops in down here. And again, as a swing trader, this is the swing, so it really didn't violate any swing trade, but it definitely drug everybody out that didn't have proper money. Anyway, we went up, had another void, pushed the market back up to new highs. This is March 30th, so we got the end of the month. Here's the end of the month. We did have some timing. And we had a 3-1 here, which, again, it kind of picked the chop a little bit. So not real bearish yet. You did make new highs. You didn't fall apart. The timing kind of picked it a little bit. Another 3-1 here, kind of in a minor area, but Again, it pushed it into new highs. This timing did just like back here, pushed it down, right? This one was a low. That was pretty easy. This one was a high, pretty easy. These multiples this one was a little more difficult in a chop. And again, once it broke that level, it did go up, right? Just like here, once it broke this swing with timing, right? Multiple timing, it pushed it down. And this is the end of it. Today is the 24th. This is Friday's trade, an outside day up. You can see in future we've got one here. We got 4 coming up on May 1st. Again, what I do if there's weekend time lined up, I usually take it to Friday or Monday, depending if there's like this one. Here was Sunday. And so I moved it into I went to Monday. I opted to go to Monday instead of Friday because we had one on Monday. So anyway, that's kind of all this is derived from the master chart inputs and the square 9. And these are the ones that I used. The research folder did its job, broke all these down. The advanced sort kind of lined them up so I could plot them and print them or whatever I want to do. And again, you can copy paste, however you want, right? As long as you don't, put it in the main area, you can copy paste and line them up. And that's kind of what I did, right? So anyway, the search history, I wouldn't delete this. I mean, I keep it ongoing. I mean, you can see the ones that I've done. This is kind of so I can go back and, review what I've plugged in, make sure I didn't do any duplicates, that kind of thing. These are, again, the inputs down that we inputted from the square root, then going out into time. This is the down, right, which I had to double, right, to get some view into the future. So again, the down, the square root, or excuse me, the doubling, gave it out to March 22nd, and 76, or excuse me, the original input was 38.26, the all-time high. 38.26, right? So right in here, and the date of the all-time high was March 3rd, 2011, right in here. And again, you can see this is right where it went to 0. And that's, again, I doubled the range, so it made sense to, instead of, that way you can use that square of the high, or excuse me, the doubling of the high to logically input the next parameters, right? So otherwise it's, you can't really use it into the future. So that's how I use that. Anyway, that is all. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great trading week on a Monday. This is Alex signing off.